Yeah.
Oh, good. You were really high.
Thank you. Someone like that. Okay, welcome to the October 21st, 2024 meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals for the City of Plattsburgh. We've got 4 appeals in front of us. We will take them in the order they are on the thank you. That they are on the agenda. This is a 5-member board. Right off the bat, we only have 4 members here. For the first 2, if you want to postpone and wait for a 5-member board, that is fine. We will do it on the board's behalf because we are not a complete board. And you basically can make that statement anytime, but if you know you're going to do it, I just soon do it up front so that we don't start hearing it and then have to repeat stuff when the 5th member of the board is here. Secondly, the last 2 items, one of our members cannot vote because she actually owns property in the same complex, and it would be a conflict of interest. I will also state that Pat Delaval, I am aware of, I know him, he's a customer of mine, but I don't think that that's going to affect my feelings about it at all. Yeah, so I have lots of customers. So, okay, Broad Street or Plattsburgh House of Prayer, 63 Broad. Who do we have represent? Come on up.
Jim's gonna put on the screen the PDFs, which I brought some hard boards, but.
Can you first introduce yourselves and your positions or?
All right, I'm Jesse Brooks. I'm the pastor of the church and CEO of the board.
Okay, thank you. Welcome.
Brooks Walker, one thank you.
Okay, excellent. So tell us about it.
So, and you can tell me how you want to have us present, but if you need the 5 questions now or later, and we can spell the discussion, I can give a general overview of the project, and then if you have discussion, you want to answer or discuss it that way, or
Actually, you know, before we start, did you want to address parking?
Sure, real quick, easy answer. You're right, not an issue.
No, well, except 2 things.
Yeah,
Your turnaround between your 2 parking spaces,
we'll make it 26,
you can make it 26.
and we can make the 9-foot handicap.
Okay.
Same federal 8, but you know, we work with dozens of zoning codes and they're all a little bit different.
Yep.
I apologize for not picking that up from the Plattsburgh. If the board would not mind just making that a condition of their review, it's a non-issue for us.
Will it change your open space?
A fraction of a decimal point, which we could resubmit to Jim the correct number with the board understanding, as you were discussing, that 2 feet of asphalt is going to take a little bit less, you know, a little less grass because of it. Now, the other thing, this is an aside for zoning boards, because we're in front of often. Zoning boards are in flux right now because of all these issues with open space, impervious and runoff and density and all these kinds of things, we're finding that parking ratios are relaxing, what we're discussing the parking ratios. Specifically for a place of worship, but we can gutter cars, like you did, instead of 4 seats. And they have more parking than they need, because you're right, 4 people don't come in one car, some bicycle, whatever, but anyway, we're finding that. Whether it's commercial or institutional, customers are making sure they have enough parking, but they're not necessarily. In all cases, needing the ratio of the zoning. In this case, they actually do have more than the minimum if you use that for them. But we have the space. The other interesting thing about open space, because I noticed, I think if I was hearing correctly, I think each of these things you're hearing tonight have X open space. And villages and towns and cities are wanting to have increased density to have better efficient use of infrastructure and roads and utilities and all this kind of stuff. Instead of having people that are doing what they're doing, growing, or their families and living in their businesses, moving out of town. Every time we're in front of a zoning board, the choice, and it's the same here, is if they're going to expand and expanding, that's great. We hope that they'll be able to expand where they are in the city and not have to move out of town, which reduces density. But it's interesting, I think, looking at the other cases tonight, and our case in particular, and all the neighbors, which I'll talk about in a second, that open space is the only issue that is sort of being discussed here. So let me start that then. I looked at the city map of where the church is, and I also looked at the zoning map. And to see where the different zones are, of course, that R2, the whole city of Plattsburgh is R2, and all the multifamily things around it are R2. So basically, the root of the problem is that it's not an R2 occupancy. It's not residential. It's not multifamily. It is a place of worship, a church. So it has things like parking needs, and it has needs for a big building to hold 280 people all at once. Multifamily doesn't have any of those requirements. But multifamily does benefit from open space. You have a place to play frisbee or softball or something like that, or some privacy between units. Church doesn't need that. So it was interesting when we started our review, we published the numbers here of the existing. I mean, we already started at 34% of the 50%. It's been that way for decades. Who knows how long? The existing building coverage and the existing parking coverage already are, as you were commenting, at about 2/3 of what that open space requirement is in an R2 zone, for whatever occupancy is required. They make no exceptions for distinctions for different kinds of occupancies. But the church has a good problem. They're growing. They like where they are. And also, do you have the slide of the bigger neighborhood? Sometimes we are sensitive to what's around the project we're working on. If it is somebody's backyard where they're having picnics or something like that, it's not. You know, there's these dorms and multifamily apartments, and you could land a plane back here on this parking lot. None of the neighbors are anywhere near this open space ratio, but that's okay. For the house of prayer, they are not going to hurt their neighbors if their open space ratio goes down. It's not affecting the utility or attractiveness of any of these other projects. So that piece of land there, and this property line thing is a tax rate thing, it shifted a little bit, but we took the area, the same area of the property for the calculations. So the first question was, you know, and of your 5 questions is, does it affect the neighborhood in a negative way? And the answer is no. Look at the neighborhood here. On the topic of parking, they do have an informal relationship with the neighbor here. If they have a big event and we go in with the parking, they cannot formalize that. They won't formalize it. They don't want to either, you know, hence to hide. But the church wants to have its own parking for its own members and its own events. And that's why the revised submission, after we thinking about expanding the worship space, and yes, the addition would be for a new worship hall. Reverend Brooks was saying, yes, we need to make sure we have the parking too. So thanks for that. We can go back to the site plan. So on the site plan, one with the photo background and one plane, that's kind of the existing conditions, existing parking, existing building. The first proposal for the building to put the larger worship hall on the front of the building, on the street, give the building a new look. even the Plattsburgh House of Prayer didn't build this building. They, what was it before?
BHSN.
Okay.
Well, and before that, it's a rectory, or
The Seton,
nuns,
yeah,
Yeah.
Seton, I was on out by Seton,
St. John's.
there you go. Yeah.
Yes, and that's where the nuns live.
So I mean, it's a good example of what I do for my life's work. Buildings, you know, can never take a breath. They're always changing. They're always, the function is changing, or their needs are changing, or the building codes are changing, or the climate change, you know, we're adding insulation, or changing function, or making it accessible. So this building is a good example of that. It's already changed a few times. It's going to change again. And for the better. So that's where the addition would be coming. We haven't done a design on the addition because the planning and zoning steps are the first ones to make sure we can be going to the next step. But for your information and for the calculation of these coverage ratios, that's the size and position of the new worship hall sort of on the front. And then the next slide of the parking. So then this is the final application submission showing the enlarged parking. We've been able to get quite a bit more parking without actually increasing the parking coverage as much as the added parking would be, because we've created some green spaces here, and they already had a single loaded corridor here, which is inefficient, and we can double load it and get a lot of efficiency with a bunch of added parking for not very much added coverage. And yet we'll make it to 26, and we can make handicap 9. There's no big deal. We move it over 2 feet here. And it just changes the coverage numbers up here by just a fraction of a fraction. For that, but I have the lead design credentials and I got it partially with sustainable design for 15 years. So I'm really on the side of sustainable design. So we've recaptured quite a bit of area that can be green, made green, but they don't need to have it pavers or asphalt and things like that. They're not using it for that or anything. So we've recaptured all of that space to still keep that open space number as high as we can and succeed in creating the addition, having the 84 parking spaces, which can hold up to 320 people. Right now, for the congregation size they have, right now your congregation is
About up 230, 150.
and projecting to grow to,
We'd like to be able to handle 275.
which would be a 3.25 ratio on the parking spaces to the number of people. I did the math when I was downstairs and you were talking about that. So it's still way under the 4. So we think it's a very sort of low impact request to just have the open space ratio go down from that 34% to that 27% to let all this happen. It meets all of the other aspects of the code. No issues with setbacks, no issues with any other, building coverage, parking coverage. We'll fix the 2 feet on the parking. So that's how we sort of see the project and the request, for you to consider.
Thank you. Questions? Comments?
You want me to present 5 questions now, or you review that in your proceedings? Or should we do it differently?
If you want, why don't you go ahead and address them? I'll just
Fast.
lightly.
That is, state level. Requirement, those tests. In our letter we outlined. So of course I just mentioned that we've added about 1,000 square feet, quite a bit of it. That the existing open space is the 34% roughly, and we're going to be down to 26.7%. The decrease of about 7% from where it is now. So the first question is whether an undesirable change is produced in the character of the neighborhood or this detriment to nearby properties that will be created by granting the variance. No. I mean, as I mentioned, the neighbors are not going to be negatively affected by this. We don't have any neighbors upside down. Which sometimes we do, and sometimes we know they do. But this is not going to be something that the neighbors are going to be concerned about. In fact, it makes the property even better. The landlords and owner will be happy about that. The character of the building will be the same as it is now. It's a place of worship. It will have that flavor architecturally. That use will be the same. Sundays and special events and that sort of thing. So the fact that there's a little less grass, nobody will notice. So the answer to that question is no. The second question is, if the benefit can be sought by some other method. And of course, you go through these questions all the time, and it's just always kind of difficult to answer. There is no other reasonable option. They can't buy any land from any neighbors. In fact, they can't even officially get permission to park with the neighbors, although unofficially they let. But they can acquire land to maintain that coverage ratio. They can't put the parking somewhere else. So bottom line, they don't want to relocate. They like where they are. They just need permission to grow a little bit. So that's my take on, there's no other reasonable option there. And the option to move somewhere else is not a reasonable option for the city to make people do. And they don't want to do it either. Is the variance substantial? That's a risk thing. As you already observed, it's already under the code requirement. So it's going from about 34% down to about 26%. It's about a 7% decrease. It's arithmetically, I don't know whether it's substantial or not. It's not a substantial change visually. Somebody walking around won't be able to see a big difference. This is a two-dimensional zoning construct. Sometimes when they're three-dimensional, it's a little tricky. We have to do height variances and things before for the projects. And then people are saying, well, gee, if it gets a lot bigger, that may have some effect on the neighborhood or the neighbors. What we're talking about tonight is two-dimensional. And so it doesn't have any of those considerations. And I would say the change is not substantial because it's already not complying and it only not comply a little bit less. We're not creating a non-conformance that was not there before. Will it have an adverse effect or impact on the physical and environmental conditions? This is kind of a repeat of the earlier question, but no, because we're not taking a hayfield and putting a shopping center there. We're not taking a one-story building, knocking it down, putting an 8-story apartment there. No, it's going to be very much the same as it is now, which is good for the neighborhood, fits into the neighborhood. It's just going to be a little denser for their growing congregation. Technical issues of light pollution, stormwater. We're always very careful about making sure we have downcast lighting, shielding with lights across property lines. There will be no added stormwater to the city storm system. That's not something specifically in your review, but it's something specifically in my review. I was walking around the other day looking at these gutters that went out into the city sewers things. We're very careful when we do this as part of my own approach to design to not add to the stormwater. We've got green space. In fact, we got plenty, even though we not enough, to make sure we create areas that hold the runoff in storm events and things, and don't put them into the sewers. Look what we all had to do this summer with this hurricane stuff. It's real, it's troublesome. So in our own design, we're very careful to not create that. But we do that all the time. When we do more development, we don't add to the burden of the stormwater runoff off the property. It's not cool. So we don't do that. And we won't do it here. So there will be no noticeable change to the character of the neighborhood. And lastly, this question, was it self-created? Yes, they're doing well at what they do. So if they weren't doing so well, we wouldn't be here.
How long have you owned the property?
Since 2015,
Okay,
15 or 16, somewhere.
so a fair amount of time.
Yeah,
Okay,
9, yeah.
so it's not like you just bought it and said, oh, we want to build out.
Yeah,
Yeah, as you said, they've been for 9 years, so they are growing, and I guess that's their problem. But as I mentioned, they can't grow by buying more land or knocking down a building next door that's vacant or something like that. The neighborhood is healthy environment, the university, and all that kind of stuff in the state. So it's a good part of town that they want to be there. But they don't wish to relocate. But so they're boxed in. They're a growing congregation. They like who they are. They do, in my opinion, have the land to make a very reasonable expansion here without, as the question is checked, having any adverse effect on the neighborhood or neighbors or anything like that. Okay.
All right, any other questions right off? I'd like to open up to the public. Is there anyone in the audience that wants to make a comment? If not, I will close the public hearing portion. Then, nope, stay, you're not done.
Where's your different? It's like,
You haven't gotten an approval or
no, but
disapproval.
usually we go back and then. Go, I'm sorry, I'll go back. Speak one thing.
I'll entertain a motion on the, oh.
Speaker.
Yeah, this one I didn't have any
I just went over it.
pink spots. So I'll entertain a motion on the seeker.
I make a motion that the board chair review the short environmental assessment form for appeal number 2384 and mark no or small impact may occur on questions 1 through 11 and sign.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now, the motion. We will need to deal with a decrease in area to get the parking.
We don't have the numbers for it right now, but
No. How much is it different?
2 feet would be added right
But
down there.
against your percentage that you put in the
Yes.
application.
In seconds. I appreciate your working this in here. It's just a tiny number. It's like 0.001% of the lot. It's 200. It's like 500 square feet out of the 61,000.
Yeah, it'd be 400, just under 400 square feet added, right?
Yes.
2 feet per spot, which and so it's 396 square feet. What's the lot size?
it's 60,943.
Yeah, so
But where's that?
So for the purpose of how we're gonna word this, how much does that change the coverage? By what?
it would reduce the open space coverage by another 0.8%.
Okay,
And we can publish the new number. For this matter of whether, so it would take it down.
To about 26.15, 26.1%.
Yes.
Okay,
okay,
You know. They would be approaching 26%.
okay. We'll just say 26. That's,
I'd say that's gonna be the safest. I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve appeal number 2384 for a class B area variance. To allow an addition to building, to the building, creating a deficiency in open space and the change to the parking lot. Providing the change in open space does not decrease, does not exceed 26%. Does that make sense? How I just said that? that the
No,
existing
like
open
you
space
exceed-
coverage
exceed
does not
20.
exceed 26%.
Does not.
It's not,
Reduce
It's
on
not-
greater open space.
it's not less than 26%.
Exactly, yeah.
Got that backwards.
Great, you got 4 yes votes, so you're good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate you participating in the process.
Jim, what I'll do is I will revise the drawing based on what we talked about tonight and then get it back. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Definitely
5 feet there, right?
okay. The paving has to be 3 feet from the property line. There's definitely 5 feet to play with that.
Yes, yes.
Great.
Okay. Next up is Elijah Buckwell. Come on down.
I'm a lot of audios, I live at 55 Park Ave. And we're just trying to get the addition to the deck. We took that picture there. So the existing deck. They told us that we could add on a 6x8. And that will go right where that sliding glass door is, right in the middle. So we just want to add the extra 5x6 and make it flush with the side of the house. It won't interfere with the fence that's there, or even come out toward the road. So just want to make it really the deck, just square it off to the edge of the house.
Okay, and you are doing a flush to the,
Yes.
okay,
So it'll be still 2.5 feet from the edge of the house to the fence.
okay. The drawing was a little vague on that aspect of it, but that's fine. Okay,
And what's in the empty spot already is concrete and gravel. So we won't be tearing on any grass and that there's. It's ready to go as we speak.
okay. Any questions? When we talked about it, it's pretty straightforward. He's limited because he's on the corner lot and has 2 front yards.
Yeah.
You're learning that, huh?
Yeah, I learned all that.
Okay, did you replace the fence?
No,
That was there when you bought
yeah,
it? Okay,
I'm learning all of that now. I
okay,
didn't apply for it, yeah. So.
well, it is best we can determine, we think that that fence. The original fence maybe predated zoning,
Okay,
because there was a fence there before it was that fence.
yeah, we bought the house 2 years ago, and I think we were,
Okay,
I don't know at all.
all right. Yeah, because one of the building inspectors used to live across the street from here,
Mhm.
so he remembers it.
Yeah, that pole's no longer there.
Yes, we heard that. Now, is that a building right there? In the picture?
That shed,
Yeah,
yes,
is that still there?
yes, it's 7 by 10.
Okay.
It's probably on the far left back corner.
You can kind of see it in the.
That's kind of, if you, we have to do the block.
Yes. Okay. All right, any questions? If not, I'll open up to the public. Any comments? Not, then I'll close the public portion. And we have a seeker to review.
That's good.
The only thing I saw, he checked on number 2, does it
Didn't see
require a
the
permit?
list.
Yes, and that would be a building permit. That wasn't written in. Other than that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to review the short environmental assessment form for 2385. And have the chairman mark, no or small impact may occur on part 2. And then check the box and part 3, if there's no significant adverse environmental impacts.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I will entertain a motion on the actual appeal.
I make a motion for appeal number 2385 to approve a Class B area variance request to allow an addition for the deck exceeding the width and depth projections into the front yard setback, not to exceed 14.5 by 11 foot as described and shown in the picture.
I'll second it.
We had no closer.
No closer than the house into the
to
side
edge of
yard.
the house. Yes, thank you.
I second that, Lisa.
Okay, you got 4 yes votes, you're good. I see the building inspector, you're good to go. All right, thank you. Again, repeat. Christine cannot vote because she's part of the homeowners as common property with you guys. We have 2 in front of us, basically the same. We'll take them in order, but realize that in all likelihood, the second one will see the same, should see the same result as the first one. Okay, assuming they are basically identical. So Patrick, come on down. Evening.
Hey, we're gonna sit with more, I just had a total. knee
That's fine. I
replacement.
actually
problem.
prefer you to sit. You'll tower it over when a 6 foot some odd guy stands there looking down at you. This kind of equalizes the playing field.
I just took some digital color photographs. Can he scan them and put them on a board? I'll just give them to you to show.
He probably doesn't have the capability to scan them right here.
So
So,
I can give you just,
yeah, come on up.
I show my neighbors, which is constructed already. And what I'd like to do, which is almost exactly the same. I was under the impression by a homeowners association that I didn't need to file a building permit or a variance. So when the building department showed up, I stopped everything. There was 2,000 pounds of demolition that I took to the town of North Elder dump. My brother-in-law and my nephew are helping me work there. We are not hiring contractors, we're getting the work done. And we'd like to get this done just to, enjoy the backyard that much better. What we have demoed, okay, right up there. What we have demoed was old rotten wood, screws, rotten timbers, nails. And we're gonna replace it with lifetime Trex deck with aluminum screws. It's gonna be the same lower height as the deck that was there. And it's just gonna get out. Probably we almost where you see those jack stands. But the photographs that you have show exactly to be right on that left to right wall line, not any higher, in fact, lower. And that's it. It's a very simple renovation, but I again apologize that I did not follow building permit because I was told I didn't have to. or a variance.
So the deck would extend out to the end of the divider walls, right to the end. And then see how you see on the left, that's number 6. That's the wall, same as what we would reconstruct as the end of the deck, so it would view similar to that, but it's extended out further.
Yeah, the photographs show a little bit clearer.
Yep. Yeah, go ahead.
So your neighbor constructed a similar, you said similar, are there any differences in terms?
Well, I don't know if she used Trex deck. I wasn't
Okay.
there for the construction of it. She did put I believe she put an AC unit on it.
In terms of size, though,
Oh, no, same, yeah, same
Okay.
size and height. Actually, hers might even be a little bit higher. We're not gonna be that high. We're gonna be lower.
So that was actually gonna be my question, was how high is it? I had gone over there today to take a look at it and couldn't help but notice that the neighbors, the whole point of the dividers between each property is to give privacy for everybody, and the deck now sits quite high. That privacy fence is pretty
My dad.
pointless.
Uh,
For if you were to go the same height as your neighbors, I'm wondering about the height.
No, I'm not gonna go. If we can go back to the pictures, you see the rotten wood that I took off, the heavy joists are still out there. The Trex deck is gonna go right on top of that.
It's gonna be the same height as what the old deck was, just
Yeah.
out further.
Do you know roughly what that was?
Well-
There was 3 steps. I don't know what the number, but there was the ground, then 1, 2, then you're up onto the deck. So I don't know if we could figure out by building codes, steps have to be 8 inches high. Is that the rule? I don't know.
Well, at the end of the day, it's not gonna be any higher than what the deck was there. In fact, it'll be lower because Trex deck is smaller than a 2x4. And the 2x4 is what was there.
So as far as coming out, you're coming out even with that privacy wall?
Yes, left and right, you see the brown and when the yellow end wall, which shows right in line with the photographs, straight as an arrow. It's not gonna be any farther than those. Where unit number 6 on our left does not have the black fencing out, they have the shrubs there. Where that yellow part ends, that is where the deck will end. It's not gonna go any farther than that.
And your property line goes out where the black fence is?
Well, actually, we just got the original survey map. And the property line actually stops. You have that gravel and then you have that kind of stone.
Absolutely.
That is the property line, where I was under the impression until just today that my property line ended at the end of the black fence. It does not, it goes out to the brick.
It's right here. There's a stone.
Oh, yeah, here's the
sidewalk.
sidewalk, yeah. This.
So we're not gonna encroach anything close to that.
You're not going beyond the face of the yellow on the
Exactly.
divider line.
Right.
Okay.
And we will be lower than the original deck, because the original deck was normal wood 2x4s, which is thicker than a Trex deck. And a Trex
So
deck-
prior to any changes whatsoever with the original deck, when you walked out of your home, did you walk down some steps to get to your deck?
You will walk down a little bit, but not
Just-
much,
Just,
like inch and a half.
Okay.
From this, like an open door.
Okay.
You walk out, you go in.
There were
And the
no-
reason being, rain, snow, if it was even, it'd come right into your place.
Mhm.
So is there a little bit of drop off? But it will definitely be lower than what, and it's just gonna be a little bit wider, it's a little bit longer, but it'll be
Yeah.
safer. It'll be enjoyable because it's not gonna be wood that's gonna be getting splinters or eventually rot out completely.
And when he says it's gonna be lower, it's gonna be lower at 1/2 inch. Trex is basically about 1 inch.
It's like deck.
2x4, yeah. Yeah.
And depending on the quality, they have all different grades. It can be lifetime, it could be 25 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was 16 feet wide by 18 feet long before.
Right, long out. Long means going from the brick towards us.
Mhm.
Which is approximately the same size as number 12.
Okay, so your application indicates you're going from 18 long to 24 long,
Yeah,
but I thought 20 foot was,
20 foot wide.
your neighbor's is 20 feet long.
No, no, it's not. It's gotta be, if she's, no, from the brick wall to the end of that yellow piece of wood should be 24 feet.
And you're going wall to wall,
Yes,
so your lot is 25 feet wide.
exactly. Well, you know, I would say it's 25 plus when you figure the middle of the wall, that divider wall is half mine and half my neighbor's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so wall to wall would be 24 feet.
Okay, yeah.
So I think your length and width are switched.
Hmm.
I didn't bring my glasses, but you might be right. Okay.
Well, you say you expand from 16 feet wide to 20 feet wide. But if you're going wall to wall, it's gonna be about 24. Plus or minus.
So you're right, I do have them switched.
Okay. And there's a main reason that I want to clear that up is because the other one reads 20 feet from the brick to the edge. Okay, and whatever we approve, like I said, we're gonna hold the other, the same thing. Okay. Any questions?
So your neighbor has a layout that has this little cutout right here. Are you doing the same thing?
No, I wasn't planning on that.
Okay, so that's also a difference.
Yep. But the envelope,
We're gonna have stairs naturally going down, but not a cutoff like that.
Okay.
oh, that was the other reason that I picked up on it, is your variance request for the homeowners association said 24 feet wide by 20 feet long. 20 feet long towards lawn. Okay. Any questions? Welcome to comment during the public portion if you'd like. Okay, I will open it up to the public. First off, before I open it up, there were 2 letters sent. Interestingly enough, they were against this variance, but not the other variance. And some of them got into stuff that has nothing to do with our zoning variance. So I will open up to the public, but I would like any public comment to stick to specifically the item at hand in front of us and not digress into other aspects with neighbors. That's something for
Civil,
a
a civil matter.
civil matter and or a police matter if you think it's at that point, or a building inspector matter. We are not an enforcement body by any stretch. Okay, so I will open up to the public. Anybody want to say anything?
Question,
Sure.
is it the zoning responsibility or is it the inspector's responsibility if someone is putting a structure up with a permit to have a certified contractor with a license? Whose responsibility is that?
There is no requirement for a certified,
Pardon?
there's no requirement for any certified contractor at all in New York State.
So when damage is done to my property in 8 Borough Way, which has already been done in my garage, who's responsible for that?
That's, it would be a civil matter that you, we don't have,
One of them then.
that's. It's become civil. You guys are all single family homes.
Pardon?
You're all single family homes there, so it becomes civil. If your neighbor, if you lived in a house and your neighbor cut his tree down. A regular house, with yards between them, they cut their tree down and it falls in their house, that person's responsible. Same thing that's going on with you guys, so it's in your hands now.
Well, it's in the bylaws, so it'll be at the HOA.
And that's fine, that's nothing to do with us, and we cannot get involved in that type of stuff, that's just not our jurisdiction. We tried to.
Are you the inspector's office?
Yes, we tried to facilitate, our inspectors have tried to facilitate and help out whatever we can, but we've exhausted everything we can. And we're not gonna go beyond what we were able to do, so.
The other thing, correct me if I'm wrong, the building inspector's office does not have anything to do with enforcement of your bylaws.
Oh, we understand that, we
Okay.
know that.
All right. Because you made the comment, well, it's in our bylaws.
It's in the bylaws that general or work on the outside is supposed to be done by a licensed contractor. With insurance, so that if damage occurs to someone else's property or the building itself, then they're covered. We are covered.
Yeah, that's between you and your homeowners association and the neighbor. Any other comments in regards to this? Okay, I'll close the public portion. All right. And these two letters will go into the record. I'm not sure if either of the people writing them are here, but they will be part of the public record of the variance. And you have a question?
I just want to confirm that, the height of the new deck is the same or somewhat lower than what exists not only prior to the work, but also everybody's deck going across.
Yes,
Yeah.
like Scott said, truck deck is thinner than two, so it's definitely lower, which is fine. by me. I would have no intentions of having a raised deck. Where they're gonna sit out, enjoy the sun, and the higher you get, doesn't matter to me, it's just we have a nice safe deck to stand or sit on.
Okay.
And you're limited by your doorway.
Yes, yeah.
You can't,
The light door swings out, so it does limit it.
yeah, unless you put a pocket, and that's stupid.
My concern was that the
Sorry.
existing is, very high. It makes those privacy walls pretty.
No, if anything, we're gonna be lower.
I don't think those privacy walls are really privacy walls anyway, if you look at them.
Yeah,
They're 3.5 feet high.
You can, yeah, you're standing on the deck, you can peer over if you want.
So I would call privacy.
Any other questions, comments? Who's vibrating?
it's like the third time.
All right, I'll entertain I guess the first thing I would like to do is change it to,
I put long.
yeah, yeah. Change the wide to long. And long to wide. Same in the body of the short environmental. Number 2 needs to list building permit. And I think that was all that I saw in this one. Unless somebody's got. I will entertain a motion on the. The environmental assessment. Well, no, we've done the 2. Okay,
I'll do one.
one.
I make a motion for appeal 2387. That after review of the short environmental assessment form, that the chair. Mark in part 2, 1 through 11, that there's little or no impact, and sign on part 3.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now a motion, and I would say we want to almost read like the verbiage on the brief description.
Yep.
Just because the diagram in here is vague. Or even the description as shown in the homeowners association variance, because that actually gives.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
So I make a motion for appeal 2386. To approve for the replacement. And enlarging of the existing deck to a deck that is say 20 feet long by 24 feet wide, and is to be consistent in build, color, size to the description noted on the external variance request for the Fort Scott Estates.
Second.
Hold on,
Yes, sir.
guys, this is a variance for open space, so we're gonna probably have to include open
Oh.
space dimensions in there as well.
Is it a variance for open space? You don't include the common area?
No, that's what we can't include the common area, that's what we talked about earlier, because it's. Our own.
Okay.
That's why we decided to go this route.
Okay. That's right, we did post it accordingly. Okay,
Do we know what the deficit is?
Give me 1 second, I'm gonna get the numbers for you.
a lot,
Oh, from 41 to
I'm sure.
31 maybe?
Yeah, I think.
If you're not including the common space.
yeah.
Yeah, it's existing 40 down to 31 is what I have written for the other deck.
Yeah, this,
Just 31.
yeah, but I didn't add that little section, I'm just gonna give you the numbers real
Okay.
quick. No, I guess I got it right, so it's existing's 41 down to 31. My
Okay,
bad, I did do it,
okay.
I thought I did it wrong, but.
So we, in addition, we approve for, a reduction in open space from 41 down to 31.
Second.
All right. Vote.
Where's hers?
All right, you got 3 yes votes, so that's good. I will say that we wrestled not with the project, but as to whether our zoning should even be involved in something such as this, where you aren't going against a property line of somebody else. You're going against the property line of your own essentially, because you own a portion of the common area. Same with the coverage, just our zoning does not allow, doesn't address it. So you had to come before us, and thank you for doing that.
Well, thanks for having us, and that was a pleasure. And
You want these back?
Awesome. Unless anybody keeps the red
We
file.
need that for the record. Okay, we'll keep them for the file.
You want to just send it down?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anne Marie, Sorny, okay,
Hi, everyone, Anne Marie Stoney, Borough, Lane, for review. So, you know, we just went through all this, I do wanna. I don't wanna tell you how to run the meeting, but I want to clarify a few points for listening in. The deck is no higher than it was previously.
Okay.
Okay, so it's the same height, so the impact of what you're calling a privacy wall is no different. Going out, it does go out 20 feet. There is about 5 feet of grass, and then there is about another 3 feet, right? So some of my neighbors don't have a fence, so it wouldn't look as closed in. The reason I have a fence is because there's stairs and it would be unsafe for someone to fall off. If you notice, this has got some depth here.
Yeah.
So, you know, initially I wasn't going to keep the fence, but thinking safety. So you're looking at about 5, 6, 7 feet out from there. As I said, it's no higher. I did get a variance from the HOA for this. I just
Okay, you did.
included it. I did, yes, I
Okay.
did all that. What else did I wanna tell you? I think that's it. It's Trex checking if it makes a difference. And I
That's-
complied with all the things they asked for. You know, the other reason it looks so high is because of the way the way they have you stay within the standard of this is just much higher. The deck isn't, it's less than 30 inches high. And I believe my measurements are, I think I measured them 100 times, 23 across, 20 out. The width of the house, my unit, I believe, is 23 across.
Yeah, yours is narrower than his.
It might be, yeah.
Yes,
A
it is.
lot is 24. Yeah. his
Oh, is
20
it?
His is 25, yours is 24.
With those barrier walls probably take.
Got you.
Eat into that, so
Okay,
23
okay.
makes sense.
Okay. Questions?
So if I'm seeing that you carried the barrier wall design around the outside of the.
That was a request of the HOA to match what was there. They wanted it to look identical to, you know, like when I brought it out. When I brought the wall out, I needed to replicate what it looked like previously.
Okay,
And so that is one of the requirements.
okay. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I originally really wanted a Trex glass thing, but they didn't go for that. Trust me, we had many a discussion in the HOA and myself about just wanting it somewhat different, so yeah. But I did speak with both of my neighbors, you know, and get their approval and stuff, they participated in that, I actually, those walls we shared, I just improved them for them. And replaced them. So they like me a little, yeah.
Okay. Any questions?
No.
Legally, I have to say, is there any, I'll open up to the public, any public comment?
No.
Right, I'll close the public comment portion. Maybe it'd be like an echo in here.
Yeah.
This one, I didn't have anything.
Short assessment plan.
Yeah,
I make a motion for appeal number 2387 that the chair review the short environmental assessment form and check questions 1 through 11 that no or small impact may occur and sign.
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Right, I will entertain a motion.
One thing real quick, guys, Adam.
Yes.
Exact. Number right now, I have the number of the amount of the deck. It's a 230 square feet, I can give you. It's 8.8%. Difference in the open space, if you, in your motion, if you wanna add that. Decrease open
Yeah.
space, but that way I can get the numbers, and I thought they were the same size, so I'll be off a little bit. But it's 8.8%.
So what we can do in the motion is the deck is shown on the plans for a decrease of 8%
Yeah.
of open space,
That would work for the open space, yeah.
8.8%.
Yep.
We just don't know what the current value is,
What the exact percentage is, but
but
we can figure that out.
okay,
It'll be higher than the last one. Open space will be higher than the last one because the open,
Right.
and there's also another. Roof in the front that's not on her property, that's on. That was on the other property, going toward the garages, so it's gonna be. More open space available. So whatever that percent, that 31% is gonna be greater than 30. I just don't have that. So probably the same size. Okay.
when they build a place like that, how do they get over the open space?
I'm sure it was in the PUD that we couldn't locate.
Okay,
Plan new developments, you can vary almost anything in the zone in the plan new development. So I'm sure at that point that was addressed, but I mean, they're all over it. Most of those are all over as they're standing there today. So.
okay. All right,
I make a motion for appeal number 2387 for a class B area variance request to expand the existing deck, creating an overage in law open space and projection into side yard setback. As shown in the plans for a decrease of approximately 8.8% in open space.
second.
I'll second it. Oh, that's right. You make it go on.
Well, as expected. You got 3 yes votes.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day, everyone.
You too.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. No, we know it's missed before. I appreciate you coming in.
Oh, yeah, no, thank you, and Lisa, thank you very much, very helpful, actually, the whole team was very helpful. And that's been this show for many days.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you for what you guys do.
Thank you.
It's like-
Thank you.
I make a motion to.
Wait,
Talk a bit,
I need to
there
go.
was some.
the minutes.
Yeah.
That's
Doing the new version. Minutes.
I don't know what it is.
Packet.
I got them mixed up. I don't know which is which.
Okay.
What was the
Is
change?
there a difference?
First agenda item, there was some. Everything that we would bring from the previous.
But it's corrected. Okay, so. We'll make a motion on the
So they have
minutes.
Friday, Beagle Street.
Mm,
Oh, yes, in the first paragraph. When 70 special use permit request to 90 Beekman Street. Or 77
Okay,
well, mine are correct.
request to allow a bed and breakfast business in RH zone district.
Well, I make a motion to approve the minutes.
As revised.
As revised.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Kelly?
I was going for the minute thing.
Oh, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A second,
Adjourn.
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 I say it too many times, it's like sound wrong.
Is it you?
All in favor?
I,
Aye.